Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hey, we are so excited to talk about the end of the year and, our job to help you become unleashed and unstoppable is to keep you out of the constant hustle messages, the hustle, the press to get to the end of the year. There are multiple calendars. It's an energy that we get filled with. But you get to start new every single morning. So I can't wait to lean into this. What were you thinking about just now, Alex? We were really on a roll.
Well, to be honest, I was thinking, we talked about the topic we are going to record about. Then the song came out of my head, like "One Heart, One Love." I don't even know if that's the right tune, but isn't it like a reggae song?
Yeah, I know exactly what.
Right? Okay, so that's literally what was coming into my head. It was the reggae song.
Yeah,
because we're talking about, especially after the other episode that we record, most recently, around the being still and being calm, was what if you headed into 2026 with your one thing? Yes. Yes, you heard it. Your one thing.
Yeah.
I was at a retreat last week.
Such a great topic. Yeah.
This was a big thing that I was in my head about, right? Of like I know for my word of the year this past year has been simplicity. I know I used that a few years ago when we gave birth to Amelia. And then of course their big move to Panama. I think simplicity is such a magical word for anybody who is going through big changes or big moves or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like now coming on the back of simplicity, right? So looking at a new year, I know for me, to think about, what does that symbolize? Or what does that look like?
Yeah.
I keep asking myself, like, the one thing, what's the one thing? Because when we simplify, right? It's like simplify to amplify. That was another big word, right? This year, like with the simplicity, is simplify to amplify. I was like, well, let's just keep going, because when we lean into the simplification and the amplification, there's this expansiveness that happens, right?
Yeah.
There's empowerment, right? When you say, Carol, about being unleashed and unstoppable, it's to empower you to embody that confidence and that strength and that courage. And sometimes it's the courage to, and what did you say before the call? The courage to say,
the courage to be willing to say no to things, right?
But it wasn't even not just no. You were like, heck no.
Hell no, because it's so important that if it's not a hell yes, then it's an automatic no. So really being intentional about, I remember you talking about a story in the past of someone you knew who was being invited to step up into a coaching platform. And the woman you were speaking with was analyzing, oh, should I move forward with this? Would it be a great opportunity for me? But when you laid out what her goals and dreams and vision were, it wasn't a good opportunity. It was not going to contribute to what were priorities to her at the time, even though it was a great opportunity. It was fabulous. And so then it was a no so that she could do the hell yes, right?
And the no also can be a not right now, right? It doesn't have to be a no, it can be a not right now, right?
Yeah.
But when you're really so focused on, let's say, your one thing, right? Really look at now, okay, I'm really, really clear on my one thing, got my word of the year for 2026. I know what my one thing is. it is empowering to be able to look and reanalyze. And I know this is something that because I'm so clear my one thing next year, my one thing is my children's book. And I've gotten feedback that I get to talk more about it. So like it is very clear. My one thing for 2026 is my children's book. It
Yes,
is
yes.
draft mode for was it a year and a half now? And it gets to be birthed. And so
Yeah,
that's my one thing. And so really looking at different commitments and things like that, like how does it align? Right.
right.
But it's so freeing because it's like, okay, I have such clarity on the one thing. And then I get to ask myself, right? You go through like a process of sort of elimination, you can kind of call
Yeah,
it, right? And you're like, does this align?
yeah.
Does it align? And if it's not a heck yes, it's a not right now, right? And it it's empowering,
Mm,
and we get to lean into a different part of our leadership to then go have conversations around that. But
mhm.
internally, you know it, right? Internally,
Yes.
you feel it in your
Yeah,
heart, maybe your stomach, or maybe you know. And it's so neat. I feel when you have clarity on that, and just to go through the
yeah,
process, because even going into maybe having a difficult conversation with somebody where when you realize it doesn't align,
yeah.
it there's a different energy, and I feel
Right.
the person on the other side, like in terms of the like receptivity of it. I also find those conversations go because they want to support you, right? They want to be in the vision with you. They want to be your cheerleader, and they acknowledge you when you see, okay, you're right, this doesn't align right now, and that's okay, right? And I think with this with fear, oftentimes there's even scarcity. We
Yeah,
feel like we got to say yes to everything, but
yeah,
that's just burnout, right? That
yeah,
just leads to burnout, distraction. We don't hit our goals,
yeah.
right? Feel depleted. We probably get to that heaviness point of what we're addressing on one of our latest episodes because of that. And we want you to feel vibrant and expansive heading into 2026, which is why we thought, what a great episode to lean into as we're wrapping up 2025 to really think about, like, out of curiosity, right? Like, not saying
Right.
you've got the answer right now, but like, if you were to think about your one thing for 2026, like, what would it be? And just sit with it, like, I'm curious for you, Carol. Like, do you got to know what your one thing is? And,
Yeah,
and like, and just pay attention, I think, to the brain. I think this is what, right? Because high performers are like one thing, but I can't do one thing. What are you talking about? I got so many things, right? Like it's like there's a resistance sometimes to that, why I think it's fun, right? As neuro coaches to like talk about one thing because there is so much going on internally, right? Around
yeah.
one.
That's what I was automatically thinking about, honestly, on the neuro side of science side of things, which, by the way, there's a book, The One Thing, that we love, and it is written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And it's a great book. As you were talking, what was coming to mind with the way we operate with our biases and resistance to growth, being uncomfortable in growth, well, one of or two of those safety mechanisms of the brain that we're talking about here are distraction and procrastination,
Yeah.
right?
Perfection
They
too. The perfection. Yeah.
Yeah, and perfection, their safety when we're distracted from the one thing, it is keeping us back out of the growth, back to the so-called comfort zone or the familiar. It's not really comfortable. We've talked about that. It's like a sense of tension because, you're not fulfilling what is important to you and what feels good to you and what you believe, right? But when we're in growth, we have to remember with our wiring, um, safety to our systems, our mind, body, spirit is what's familiar. And what's familiar is over here. It's what you were doing. It's not the growth. It's not going up the high level. So when you're able to focus on the one thing, then ironically it'll bring up the distraction, the procrastination that's back there. And this is something I literally was speaking with my clients about today. Grab it, capture it. That's a bridge into what's in your subconscious that's trying to keep you safe. And then when you put your focus back on the clarity that you want, That's where you can really lean in and move past that resistance, or move. It's not moving past it; it's literally rewiring it.
Yeah.
That's the process that we teach is a system to rewire it, which means getting rid of what's holding us back and putting in place what is moving us forward. Focus. For me. Being in 5 countries and right now having 5 businesses. Well, what does that look like? That sounds like chaos. And we don't want to be taking one step in 20 different directions versus 20 steps in one direction. So, in my particular case, one of those things is a priority for me. That is a priority business. That's where the focus goes. And then everything else flows out from that.
The
That's what
domino,
that
right?
looks
Like
like.
it's that domino.
Yeah. Yeah. The
It's
big domino. Yeah. Talk about
yeah,
that because, yeah.
yeah, right. It's the thing that you focus on it by focusing on that thing, it then will like impact everything else, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes so when I'm thinking of like Carol, right? Because I mean, many listeners are clients, like that's the challenge when you say, well, one thing, but I have multiple businesses and I have multiple focuses and things like that. It's like
Yeah.
go up a layer,
Yeah.
right? Go up a layer. What is the one thing that if you focus with an impact in all of those lanes, right? Because we're kind of in the lane, or I noticed a lot with strategic planning last week that people were all in the strategy. They were putting strategies as goals. It's like, okay, go up one layer. What is the thing that by implementing these strategies you will achieve? And
Yeah.
I do notice how it's not defaulted because of the default of us being a lot of like doers. We're
Yeah.
always in this doing of like, I need to do all this stuff
Yeah.
versus go a layer up. Like, what is the vision you have for 2026? What's your mission for 2026? Right? What's the big thing that you want to that's exciting as well, that gets to be
Yeah.
fun, juicy, that like lights you up, right? This
Mm.
is what you have to have the target on. And then when you focus on that, it goes and it trickles down and it hits
Yeah.
all the other things, right? And that's what I was thinking for you, Carol. It's like, okay, right? Like Carol could come back like, yeah, but I have these 5 businesses and all this. Is like, okay, well, what's the one thing that if it happened would then impact every single one of your businesses
Yeah.
in a positive manner?
Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. And, sometimes that changes too. So,
Mhm.
I get to remain adaptable and flexible where I've got one thing, but I don't want to be like constantly switching back and forth. That does not work. So it is for me right now where I get to be flexible and adaptable is there's quite a few steps I'm taking to let go of the past and let
Mhm.
go of things that I felt that I had to be locked into that were based on information from the past. Information and knowledge is changing constantly. So it's remaining flexible and being able to recognize, no, I get to let that go, even though it might feel scary and stretchy for me, and keep my focus on what it's meant to be on, which is serving and impacting the world and bringing women to higher level wealth, right? We deserve seats at the table. That's my
You know
passion.
what? I'm hearing your one thing is Carol is healing.
Healing, yes, very much, because healing is a key part of we as women having wealth. There is a collective energy around the world for millennia where women have not had the seats at the table that they should have had. They're still blocked from many of these higher level rooms. And when we heal those stories, those limiting money stories, we're integrated beings and everything in our life expands. Everything. And Alex, I'll say, going right along with that, a huge part of healing that I adore leaning into is recalibrating our nervous systems, right? Because we are integrated, and that's a huge part of La Colina retreats, right? It's the abundance of nature and it's a complete nervous system recalibration. So everything that when you're looking at a layered puzzle, look at how everything integrates and look at what you're willing to say no to and look at um, what is the number one thing. Because if you focus on that number one thing, I can tell you this scientific, I don't even know all the full ways it works. I can just tell you from books written and people I know and my own experiences, if you focus on that one thing, everything else will flow. It's absolutely magical. Everything else flows, which is super cool. Yeah.
One thing in terms of like a practice that I love to invite our, listener today, when you're thinking, even if it's just a matter of, sorry, two thoughts here. One thing was like, just start to brainstorm when you think about all your different things, because what's really powerful when you start to brainstorm, you will sort of, when you see it all out, like I think it's fun to like put it all on stickies too, because you can kind of reorganize things because
Yeah.
you see that there's a lot of alignment, and you'll see things that maybe are not aligned or don't kind of like
Oh, I'm
together.
thinking Amy Porterfield immediately. Shout out to her. She's one of the coaches that always teaches like the post-it note method.
And and but just like to work through, right?
Yeah.
Because again, it's very, if this is not, if you're not used to the practice for one thing, the brain's automatically going to be I remember being resistant, like one thing, or
Yeah.
the dumb bowl or whatever that it was like, what are you talking about? But when you start to kind of really like play with it and look at different levels and play, that's why I like the sticky notes, like because I'm very visual and tactile, like to play around with it. You'll start to see, and you'll start to see things that like, okay, this is maybe a 2027 thing,
Yeah.
right? Or a parking lot, or maybe it's a later 2026 because, depending on how things go.
Mhm.
The other thing, sorry, my second thoughts that I went in two directions this time was writing it out,
Yes. Yeah.
like being super intimate
Yeah.
with what one thing is, because opportunities are always going to present themselves. And our brain likes to overcomplicate things. And we're like, just the way the brain functions is like when you really ground yourself in what your one thing is, it really, it's this
It brings
free.
the clarity and the
Yeah.
simplicity and the freedom. You're right. It does. And
And so
yeah.
it's being reminded, because we will have the negativity bias. We will have our brain safety. We will have all the things that are going to come up, right?
Mhm.
Get like the distraction and the avoidance and all that. So being really grounded in that one thing and then talking about it,
Yeah.
right? Really talking about it, because we can keep it internally, but when we share about it, and I'm, most like if you're
And those
listening,
safe spaces, I
yeah,
do. I think we should qualify talking about it because maybe we're talking about certain things with, let's say we're talking about investing with our family. We're going to do something new, try a new method. We're going to buy some real estate. And but they're not experts in it either. So they may be giving you their opinions, their advice, but
yeah,
unqualified advice. So when you do share things, you do want to, be discerning about who you're sharing things with and where you're sharing them,
yeah.
especially when seeking advice. Yeah.
I think what I was thinking of, like in your immediate tribe, right? Your immediate
Yeah.
community, like share your one thing, because you can then hold each other accountable
Yeah.
and support with the evaluation process, right? Because it is so easy to get distracted, or because life happens, right? Life is going to life.
Yeah.
And that's when you are navigating a lot. If you just have your one thing, whether it be like I was coaching with a client this week actually,
Mhm.
and we're talking a lot about the vision, what was important to her, and especially this time of year, right, with holidays and lots going on. I've noticed over the years with this particular client that there's a trend that this client tends to disappear around this time, and it always it impacts the business, right? And then you start to get distracted in all this. And so what I challenged her on, I said, if at minimum all you wrote out was your vision, right? I mean, that takes what, maybe I don't know, like depends on how long the vision is, but one
Tell her
that
to
you can,
call me. I've got some amazing visioning exercises.
like, even if it was just that, even
Yeah,
if she wrote out her vision every day and that was it, right? You're
yeah,
still grounded in your vision because yes, life is gonna life, and it's really easy. And I see this. I know Carol, you see this too all the time, where clients get derailed and they get derailed and they get derailed because life is gonna life. But
yeah,
your vision is important to you. That's why it's your vision. And there's ways that you can still stay grounded and committed to the vision, even though
yeah,
you're not necessarily taking action on it every day,
yeah.
other than just being grounded and reminded of that vision.
Stop having awkward small talks that kills connection. The solution is knowing how to ask powerful questions. I have a free guide for you that walks you through how to ask wonderful questions that people want to answer, that people are going to be like, that's a great question. I have to think about this. And it's all in my powerful free guide for you. These are going to be questions that you can ask other people, but also questions that you can ask yourself to go deeper into your own self-awareness. Get the free guide.
It's like with the children's book, I've still been writing about it, but it wasn't the priority, right? And now it gets to be the priority. And that's because, and through, the intention of like setting that as the priority. So we just want to stand with you, acknowledge that the brain might do its thing when we are inviting you to look at the one thing. And I invite to play, like to have fun with this, to be curious about this one thing that Alex and Carol talking about on the Unleash Unstoppable podcast. Like, what does get to be my one thing for 2026? And it doesn't always have to be business related. It could be personal, it could be health, it could be play, right? Like, have some fun with this.
Yeah.
And we are a stand to support you in coming up with that. And we'd love to know what it is, right? Go into the show notes, click the button that says, send us a message, text, send us what your one thing is. Hey, we want to be your people, even if we're your only people that you share this with, to be a
We want to
stand.
manifest it with you. We want to bring that energy and hold you high and
Yes.
what you're desiring.
Yeah, because as you share, it's part of the manifestation process, which is why it's important to share it with people who mean a lot to you and are close to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we're just excited to wrap up 2025 with you as we head into 2026. If you guys haven't already, head over to the show notes, grab our gifts and our freebies, grab your website audit, learn all about becoming a diamond in the diamond transformation with Carol. And as we often share, we're so grateful for you. This is a time of year of gratitude and just grateful for you being listeners and supporting the podcast. So we always love ratings and reviews and hearing from you. And we will see you in our next episode next Thursday.
Yes, that's right. Yes, love you. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.